Okay, in this first video tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and start off by setting up my XYZ project. So I've got my MPEG Streamclip open. I'm going to go ahead and drag my finished XYZ render in here. So now I can see what's going on, and I can go ahead and calculate frame number. The difference between this setup and yours is that you will have your finished dope sheet, so you should have that open as well. And last but not least, I'll go ahead and open up the calculator from the little spotlight search here. And now if I need to, I can go ahead and calculate what frame number I'm on with some simple math. Alright, I'll go to Blender, and I'm going to go ahead and right click to select my cube, X to delete. I'm going to go ahead and take the camera, and I'm going to reset its location and its rotation. So I'll reset its location by pressing Option G. You can see down here it says Alt and G, but the Alt key is the exact same as Option on a Mac. So from here on out, if you see me, if it says Alt, it's actually the Option key. Okay, and now I'll press Option R, and now you can go ahead and see that my camera is looking straight down, which is considered reset, no rotation. Alright, so I'm going to have my camera flip up 90 degrees, so I'll do R for rotation, X for the X-axis, and 90, and then left click to accept. I'm going to go ahead and move my camera back on the Y-axis, about 4 or 5 grid units there, and I'm going to go ahead and make my first actor, which is the X-axis. Before I do that, I just want to set up a couple other things here. Up at the top here, in the top middle, you need to make sure that you are switched over to the Cycles render engine, so that way we get all the good bells and whistles and things like that. Down here at the bottom, where you have your timeline, where it says start and ending frames, we want our end frame to be about 810. Make sure you hit return. And let's see, that's pretty much it for setup. Okay, except for saving. So I'm going to do File Save. I'm going to navigate to my desktop, Project XYZ folder, and make sure that you go ahead and you do put your name in here. First initial, last name, Project XYZ. This is showing up in red because it's warning me that I already have a file with that name. I'm going to go ahead and call this one Demo, and save. Okay, so that's pretty much set up. I'm going to now make my X actor, and then we'll cut, and we'll go to part 2. Okay, so I'm going to make sure my 3D cursor is always in the center when you add in a new actor or add in anything. It's just a good idea. So I'm going to do Shift C to bring it to the center. I'm now going to do Shift A, and I'm going to come down here and choose text. The text comes in like that. I'm going to press the Tab key to enter edit mode, press the Delete key to backspace, and I'll do -X and tab out. Okay, so now you have two options here. You can either stick with the same font and then move on to the next step, or you can go ahead and load up a new font. So I'll show you how to load up a new font if you choose. So you want to come up over here on the right hand side, and you want to click on the little tab here that has an F for font. You want to then scroll down until you see this area here that says font, and you want to go here to this line that says regular. You'll notice that if you click on this little pop-up menu here, it says B font, which is the Blender font. That's the only one currently loaded. I want to load another one, so I'm going to click on the little folder icon to the right of it, and here's where you find the fonts on your computer. So up here on the top left, you'll see some bookmarks where you can go looking, and we want to go look in the system bookmark, which is basically the hard drive. Once you go to the hard drive, you can go ahead and come here to the folder called Library, and inside Library, Fonts. And when you go to Fonts, you'll see that you've now found all of the fonts. It's really hard to know what a font looks like in this view, so what you do is come up here to the top, and there are these three little buttons that my mouse is hovering over right now, and you want the third button. And when you do the third button, now you get a nice preview. And this is brand new. This did not exist in the last version, so this is a nice one here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and not waste any more time. I'm just going to go ahead and choose this particular one here. Actually, I'll go ahead and go with this one here. I like this one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go with this one here and click on Open Font. And there we go. You should now see your new font is chosen. And you can come back over here, and when you click on the pop-up, you'll see all the fonts you have chosen. Okay, I'm going to come over here to the Materials panel now. Click on Materials, choose New, and right here where it says, it's either going to say Material or Material.oo something. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call this X hat, and that's short for X Material, of course. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and we'll get further into this later on, but the surface area here, this is where you're going to make an object either solid or shiny or reflective, or even be able to fade in and fade out, so become transparent. Our X does none of those things. It's pretty simple, so we're going to leave it as diffuse, which is really just a technical term for solid color. I'm going to click on the color picker here, and I'll go ahead and choose red, make it a little brighter, and there we go. Now, you can't see the red showing up here, and that's because you have to tell Blender how you want to display this window, and that's done down here at the very bottom of the menu. There's this little white circle by default, and that is called the viewport shading. So this is the viewport, and the way I want to shade this viewport is with the material option. Okay, almost done, first part. I'm going to come up here to the top right hand corner, left click, drag it out, and split my window. I have 2 copies of this toolbar here, and I really don't need 2 copies. So the way I'm going to get rid of them, or get rid of one of them, is put my mouse pointer in one of my windows. I'm going to press the letter T, and that toolbar goes away, and you can bring it back if you want. Okay, last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and in my right view, I'm going to press numpad 0 and get into camera view. And before I finish up, I'm going to take my X actor here and I'm going to make it stand up. So I'm going to press R for rotate, X for the X-axis, 90 for 90 degrees, and left click. Okay, so I'm looking at the size of the X right now, and to me it seems a tiny bit small. So I could go ahead and I could do 3 things. I could scale up the size of the X actor. I could move it further into the camera, in which case it looks bigger, or I could go ahead and move the camera in. And I think in this case I'm going to go ahead and select and move my camera in a little bit. So just something like that. There we go. Okay, so now in my camera view I'm going to go ahead and move my X-axis down so it's about halfway, and I'm going to go ahead and move it on the X-axis so it's off camera to the left. Okay, I'm going to set up my keyframes here, and then I'll save again, and then we'll move on to part 2. So the X-axis is here. Knowing my dope sheet, I know that on frame 1 I want it to start here off camera, so I'm going to press I to insert a new keyframe, and you have to think about what is this actor's action, and it's only moving on its location. It's not rotating, it's not changing size, so I can just get away with just location. So I'm going to go ahead and keyframe that location. Okay. So now what I need to do is I need to figure out what keyframe it's moving over and how long it takes to basically get across screen. And remember that you can use the arrow keys, left and right arrow keys, to go ahead and figure that out. Okay, so it looks like it's, oh, that's fun. If you ever have a problem with MPEG Streamclip, go ahead and just, well, like I was having there, I don't know if you caught it, but just go ahead and resize the MPEG Streamclip window, and that will refresh it. So that's weird. It may be because I'm recording my screen here that it's doing that. Okay, so I'm hoping, let me go ahead and try closing down MPEG Streamclip again, and I'm hoping that this is not a technical issue. We shall see. Okay, so to me, that looks like it's where it's off, but then if I resize my window and refresh it, it looks like it's still on screen. Okay, so this looks like where it's gone, and you can see down here it says 2 seconds and 27 frames. So again, if you calculate that and you do 30 frames times 2 seconds, which basically is 30 times 2, and that's 60 frames, and then you add 27 to that, you're going to go ahead and get 87 frames. So we'll go ahead and I'll jump down here, and at the very bottom of the timeline here, this is my current frame, so I'll type in 87 and I'll jump to frame 87, and once I'm on frame 87, I'll go ahead and move the X actor over to the left and off screen, press I to insert a keyframe, and I'll choose the location. Let's see, last but not least for the X, and of course I can go ahead and press play and watch it. Now, we talked about this in class, and most everybody agreed that on frame 3, that's when it was showing up. So what you could do is you can go to frame 3 if you want, and you can then go ahead and sort of force it to start showing itself right here. And of course you need to insert keyframe, and there you go. So 3 keyframes, and that's pretty darn precise. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do File Save, and there we go. When you do File Save out here, I just press Control S. It's going to ask you to confirm Save Over. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'll see you in part 2.